Hey, welcome to the Book Asylum Podcast. I'm Jen J.L. Folk, as most of you know me. Um, we have a great guest today. I am so excited to talk to her. It's like my horror sister. I swear to God, we were separated at birth. So let's get right to it. And welcome to the podcast. Here is Brooklyn Ann Butler. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I've been out. I finally got Kent to get my big boxes of Halloween stuff out of the attic.
That was my next question. Did
Cursing
he
the
ever
whole
do it?
time. Yes, he did it this afternoon. So I was out there and I got all my fencing up for my graveyard, but not all
Mhm,
my stones. And it's been growing steadily
mhm.
every year,
Oh,
and
yeah, has to.
he's noticed.
Yikes.
He
Well,
came out and
maybe.
he's like, "What?"
Well, I mean, if you're a horror author, you have to have the coolest yard in the neighborhood.
I do,
You,
and
you have to.
they know I had so many neighbors driving by, all woohoo!
Yes. And I think horror as a genre, because you write in horror, and
Mhm.
as a genre, I think it's really coming back. You know how back in the 80s, 90s, it was a lot of slasher,
Mhm.
Freddy, Jason, all the four kings.
Yep.
And it's gotten more to where people are more sinister. Now we've got the Terrifier. And I
Yeah.
was, oh my God, I made the mistake of trying to watch that movie yesterday at work while I was waiting for a transport. Not a good movie to watch at work. Blood
Yeah.
and boobs everywhere. It's just not a good movie to watch at work. I don't recommend it. But it's evolving, and it's becoming its own cool little subset of little weirdos. And
Mhm.
I love, people can call me a weirdo all day long because I absolutely, yes, I embrace it. Bring on
Mhm.
the weird. That's me.
Oh, yeah.
I believe rocks. I believe rocks do things for me. Hell yeah, I'm weird. Okay. So I just want, first of all, let's start off with getting to know you.
Okay.
Now this is because you don't just write horror, you
Yeah.
also write romance,
Yep. But my love for horror is in all my romance novels too.
which
Every
is
single
awesome
one of them.
because it's kind of horror romantic.
And heavy
Romance
metal.
horror.
I always give odes to heavy metal
Girl.
music in it.
Yes. That's awesome. So obviously your first love is obviously horror. So
Mhm.
how many books have you written? How long have you been writing? Give us what started, your brand.
Well, I started my first novel at 15 on a dream that I had, but I tore it up and it is not in any remotely recognizable form except for like one scene. And that one is like the third in my urban fantasy romance series. And I have almost done with my 29th novel, I think. My But I have 27 published because that my first straight up horror novel that hopefully will give all of the nightmares is I'm getting it ready and my agent's gonna be shopping it next year.
Oh, sweet. Oh my God, that is so awesome. So what is your most recent release?
My most recent release would be my vampire witch romance, Bewitching the Vampire, that came out last August. But I also had a bunch of re releases because I got my rights back to my Regency Vampire series.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so I re released those this spring. And then I got the first two books in audio. So that was a huge thing because everyone's been bugging me for audio, but
Yes.
that costs money. So it's really hard to
Right.
get
Yes, I
done.
know. And that's what I'm doing now is I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, I'm indie. I don't
Mhm. Same.
I don't do volumes of book sales and stuff like that, which I'm okay with because I
Mhm.
honestly I wrote it for myself just so that I could say I did it, I'm published, and it's just
Mhm.
become a thing. I'm still brand new to it. When I was 45 was my first. I'm 47 now. So
No,
yeah,
but you look like you're 30.
you're
I
you're my
thought you were
favorite.
younger than me.
I love you. No, I have children your age. No, not your age, because I we had a discussion last time how
Yeah, I'm 42.
because because you look like you're 20, you know. And but yeah, I started writing a couple of years ago, and it's those good Gen X genes, by the way. So,
Yes.
but I have been getting more progressively in more horror and more gore and stuff like that. And I know I
Mm.
asked you this the last episode too, I believe, but I wanted to know, how hard was it for you to come up with the gore and stuff like that? Because I'm finding that it's difficult, because I think for myself it's more, I don't want to go too far. So how do you know
Uh,
if you've gone too far?
I don't know, the gore seems to have come second nature for me, but I think it's because I started watching horror movies at 2 years old. Nightmare on Elm Street, I was 2, and I snuck behind the couch, and
Oh
my
yeah.
mom was watching it. She
Hmm.
caught me, she noticed I wasn't scared, and she was, not in exactly the right mindset because my sister had just passed away, so she
Yeah.
just plopped me on the couch
She's just
next to
like, come
her,
here,
and
honey, let's do this.
yes, yep, and then we were, like, horror buddies ever since, so, I mean, I love the gore, it makes me crave jelly donuts, but, the one thing that I noticed, in the Graveyard Girls, that's the straight up horror that will hopefully be going on the market soon, in the prologue, it's like it. And so I definitely started out with a prologue of a girl's little sister getting killed by the monster.
Hmm.
And in my movie club, when watching horror movies, we like cheer on when a kid gets it because the child actors and the directing and the writing is so bad
Yes.
that the kid's always obnoxious.
You're like,
But
thank God, get that little
yeah, so we're
bastard
like,
off the
haha,
TV.
you know,
Yes.
and then and it also and it looks so fake. So it's like
Oh yeah.
it's comical for us in the movies. But when I
Yeah.
was writing about this little kid getting tricked and then massacred by a monster, I was like, oh, it like took me a while to write that prologue just because I was not expecting that it would be hard for me. But I
Yeah.
guess my maternal instincts came out.
So is it difficult for you? Because I am just now getting into adding death of every age into my books or into my short stories and stuff like that. Did you ever find it difficult for to
Just
kill
with
off a
the
child?
Yeah, just with that little kid, I was all gung ho to kill off teenagers because in my
Mm,
Be Mine series, that's my horror romance mashup where it's got the final couple instead of the final girl.
yeah.
I'm like, so I got to do the whole Friday the 13th thing and all the 80s favorite
Ah,
90s
all
horror
the
thing
tropes.
and all
Yes.
of the tropes and then just, kill them in the most creative ways possible. Like I had the school principal had this best school spirit trophy thing. He was based on my school principal that was really weirdly obsessed with school spirit. I had the killer jammed it down his throat
Oh,
and
thank
like
God.
just yeah, it was awesome.
God, that is something that I think I don't think enough of us authors do.
Mhm.
I name people who have pissed me off, and they end up being the bad guys in my books. Is that
Same.
yes, yes. Therapeutic. It's
It
therapeutic.
very much is. There
Very.
was this one girl that cursed my best friend and I. We'd been best friends since 3rd grade. We're still best friends,
Mhm.
but in 7th grade she walked right up to us in the gym and was like, "You guys can't be friends forever. One of you is going to move." And, sure enough, her dad
Rude.
got transferred and they had to move to different states, and she always had a
She
Kool-Aid mustache,
did.
so we're like, "That Kool-Aid mustache, bitch!" So, I got to put that in a book.
And it's funny because girls are ruthless,
They
and
are, they are so much meaner.
I don't think I don't think the males in really understand in horror how
Mhm.
bad we are.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we can play nice, but
Mhm.
like behind, we might be sitting here concocting and conjuring up some horrifying death for you, whether it's in in the book or whatever. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's just we're not a nice species. We are very catty and very petty. I
Mhm.
mean, I would have to say that, but
I kind
um
of made that an aspect of the monster in my book. I had it symbolize like all the things that like was wrong, like girls and women not being believed,
yeah,
and girls and women turning against each other when they really should be joining forces. So
yes.
I had those as big themes in there, in between so much gore.
And that I think is extremely important because you know, every so many years the it doesn't matter what community you're involved in, whether it's the horror community, the romance community, not even just authorship, also, you know, anything out there that you know, it could be because I'm pagan and I believe in witchcraft and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know, the witch community and there's always like a lull for so many years and then it goes topsy turvy and everybody there's a bunch of infighting and
Yes,
I
yes.
hate that. And we in the horror community just had a bunch of that going on
I
over the
watched
last
some of
year.
that, but I
Y-
mean, I was always late to it because the
Me
social
too.
media algorithm's so fucked that,
Hmm.
excuse me,
No, you're allowed.
that
You're
I
fine.
there's always like a delay, so it'll show me a post like it's brand new, and really it's 2 weeks later, and
And you're
somebody
like,
big
I'm just
booking,
seeing
they're
this
like,
now.
if you're silent, then you're not on there, you're
You're
on their
part of the
bad side.
problem. Yeah.
And I'm like, silent about what? I just see
I
this
just
post.
got
It's like
here.
2 weeks.
Yeah, so we had already we just went through that and I guess this also happened a few years ago as well. You know, so it's like to me um building a community of especially amongst us women because we've already got enough going against us as it is.
Yep.
You know, I think that's so important and you know, we that's what we try to do here. We try to bring the community together in a
Mhm.
cohesive, you know, we've people have said, "Oh, you support that person, whoever's on the bad end of the
Yeah.
talk of the rumors." And it's like we interviewed them because they wrote books.
Yes.
It's just a podcast. Relax.
Mhm.
They're not going up for presidency or anything like that. Calm down.
Mhm.
So it's just I think it's important you know that us women come together and
Mhm.
especially there's it's just one less place that we all need to be fighting each other. There's so many other things in real life that we have to worry about. Why
Uh-huh.
add to it?
Yep.
So are you going to stick in horror or are you
Oh,
going to
yeah.
kind of genre jump?
Well, I'm always gonna do both because I can't not with the kissing and happily ever
You're
after.
so
I
cute.
mean, that's always gonna be my jam. I couldn't stop no matter how hard I tried to not like that, so I will always have that, but
Hmm.
I'm also going to write horror on top of it. It's like
Hey,
it's time for me to I can finally write things where there isn't a romantic subplot and I can go balls to the wall batshit scary, and I
yeah,
really wanna do that too, so I will be doing both.
awesome. So I want to know what is it that you do to kind of relax or in your free time?
Oh, man, what even is that? Um, usually I rewatch, I do movies. Well, where I'm in a movie club and we stream movies for the group every night.
Uh-huh.
And that's pretty much all my social life is because I have multiple jobs and I'm also like have agoraphobia and social anxiety, so it's really hard for me to get out.
Yeah, my husband's got that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
it's
that's what
rough.
I do, and when
Yeah.
I'm, like, alone and relaxing, then I read a lot and watch movies.
Do you read in the genre?
Oh, yeah, I read almost every fiction genre and some nonfiction. I love historical, I love romance, I love fantasy, and I love horror, and I'll even read a sci-fi if it's good, even though generally I'm not into space or robots.
Right. See, and I love space. I can watch a space movie. Like there's a movie on Netflix called Life. It's got
Mhm.
Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, some other broad I don't know who, but It was so good. I really enjoyed it. And
Mm,
I'm one of those where I'll be sitting at my desk here writing or learning my medical billing and coding stuff, and I'll
mhm,
have Supernatural on in the back.
mhm.
That's my go-to show is Supernatural. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
um,
Mine's Twin Peaks.
yeah, yours is a little funnier than mine, but mine's all, oh, let's dip a demon and oh God, yeah. But that's kind of what I do. And do you have like rituals or stuff? Because I have to have my purple drink, and I really need snackies. Which I don't have, which is probably my problem lately.
Yeah,
So
I do. I have well, when I wake up in the morning, I can't drink coffee. Ever since I it's not really like I liked coffee much, but I was a Denny's goth, so I drank a ton of coffee in my teen years back in the 90s.
never got into the coffee. Never.
But after I had my son, if I drink coffee, it feels like I swallowed razor blades.
Ow, weird.
So, yeah, and he's a 23-year-old man now, and I'm still impacted by
Well, that's not fair.
I know, right? Because coffee's so much cheaper. It's Red Bull is my thing. So I always have to have my morning Red Bull and my Xanax because I have PTSD, so I need that
Hmm.
to function, and then I get to work. And I used to be a chain smoker. Now I'm a chain vapor, but
Ah,
I'm down to only 3% nicotine. So
that's good.
I make
I
my
s-
own juice. So
I still use the old nicotine route of cigarettes. I just roll
I
my own.
miss them so bad.
I know that's what I hear a lot of vapors say is that they miss the cigarettes, and it's like, do you though? Do you?
Yeah. There's a lot about it I don't miss.
Yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons, but my husband and I finally kind of got, hey, we should probably roll our own cigarettes, and instead of
Mhm.
spending $600-700 a month in
Right?
cigarettes, now it's 100 for both of us.
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
That
It's
is
just so
better.
expensive, and vaping is way cheaper than smoking
Mhm.
cigarettes too.
Especially if you make your own like I do.
Yeah, which that's very handy. And I know people can. I wouldn't even know where to start.
It's honestly, well, it was a bit of a learning curve because finding out which flavors like last and taste better and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
but now I just have my go tos. I have a green apple, pear, cucumber, or Fuji apple, not green apple.
Okay.
The green apple wasn't as good. It has to be Fuji. And then I have a watermelon one.
Oh, okay.
I have
That
a
I bet that smells
honeysuckle
good
and
too.
honeydew one that I call honeyduckle that I make every once in a while.
That's cute. Have you thought about doing that as a side hustle?
No, I think you have to get like special licenses and stuff. And then thanks to the vitamin E oil in the weed vape cartridge thing that happened and got all those people sick, we had a
Mm,
whole bunch of restrictions down, and so many like vape shops and people who made juice shut down, even though we had nothing to do with it.
mm-hmm. That's very pointless.
Hmm.
Well,
It's
and
just the tobacco industry wants their money back, so they do
yeah, oh
whatever.
yeah, they do. They do. They don't want you healthy. Just like,
Hmm.
anyways. So, do you make anything else at home?
Um, Yeah, I make quilts and I make yeah, I'm spacing here. I did make some pillowcases, but I'm not very good at sewing.
That
And
is so cool.
we make our own jam and jelly every Huckleberry season.
Ooh, that
But
sounds
that's mostly my boyfriend. And then morel season I make a huge vat of morel soup, and then
mhm.
we portion it out in vacuum seal bags and we vacuum seal it. And then there we've got, stroganoff base, pasta sauce, and soup
Oh, nice.
a year.
Nice. See, and I love stuff like that. I'm really into because I write zombie fiction. So of course, I'm into the prepping and the learning how to do
Mhm.
stuff at home by yourself. Like I make my own herbal caplets. am starting to make my own soap. I make my own salves
Mhm.
or balms. I make my own chapsticks.
Nice.
I do a lot of weird things. I haven't gotten to the candles yet, but eventually I will so that I can start storing those
Mhm.
cuz you never know. But Um, so
Chaos.
what is next on the agenda for you? You said you're re-releasing books.
Yes, and then I have this big. Hold on a sec, just because you guys all got to see him. This is Chaos.
Oh yeah.
If anybody
Hi,
came to my
baby.
house, they would never see him because he's a wimp. But
Oh,
he doesn't know he's on camera.
he's a
Whereas
sweetie.
my
He's so
grandkitty,
big.
oh, I know. He got so upset about it too because his sister has the microcat gene that the came from the neighborhood
Yeah.
gene pool or whatever. So she's really small, and he used to be able to follow her in little nooks and crannies when they were both kittens, and then he got big and she didn't. He didn't like it until my son and I moved in with my grandkitty, and then he's like, "Okay, no, I do like being bigger because it's another male."
Yeah. Yeah. He was okay with it, and
Yeah, so
it's
he's embraced his size finally, but he did not like being so big.
he's so fluffy. He's
He
adorable.
is, and we got 2 floofers and 2 short hairs.
Nice. He looks like he's part Maine Coon.
He does. And
Definitely.
I'm pretty sure Shadowpaw, which I'm surprised that he hasn't come yet.
I don't think I
But
saw him last time either.
he's all black. I think he's part ragdoll because he does the going limp thing that
Does
ragdolls
he?
do.
I
Yes, he
love it.
hugs like a human, and he
Aww.
spoons and he holds hands, and
Black cats are just a whole nother weird breed. They're
mhm.
adorable. I have 3 German shepherds.
Aw.
They still they're big cuddlers. They
Yes,
are
they are.
big cuddlers. And yeah, 9 times out of 10 I'm getting yelled at by one of them. So they're just very vocal. But so how do you you do a lot. How do you find time?
I'm pretty much at it from about I get up around 11 a.m. and then I go to bed around 2 or 3 a.m.
Okay.
And
When do you write?
I try to I usually get done with my day job stuff around 2 or 3, and then usually about 3:34 I have a productivity sprinting group, and
Mhm.
I try to get us in there around 4, and then I write until movie time. And then if I'm really pulling a late nighter, I'll come back cuz our movies are at 7:30 my time, so they're usually done by around 9ish.
Yeah.
And so that's my relaxation social life, and then if it's a late nighter, I get back to work on whatever I'm doing.
Okay. All right. That's cool. I am fortunate enough where I can actually write while I'm at work. So,
Yeah, that's what I did when I was in call center hell.
yeah.
I guess
Yes.
they changed things so much that, like, people can't do that anymore at that so that's why I named the world where the epitome of evil comes from after that place. I just spelled it different.
That's hilarious. That's I mean, that's good therapy.
I mean, you had to ask to go to the bathroom, and then you were on a timer to
Oh my
on
god.
top of that, it was so degrading.
But yeah. Why? Why? I don't understand the micromanaging. That's why
Mhm.
I wish that I had been smart enough to figure out how to do this earlier. But to get an agent to get into one of the bigger publishing places, don't get me wrong. I'm
Mhm.
published through Angry Eagle. I love them. I
Mhm.
love D. I'm never changing. I don't care.
Mhm.
I'm not changing publishers, but my thing is that like getting into the big ones where they give you an advance, that would scare me. That would
Yeah.
scare the crap out of me. Cause I'd be like, well, what if I don't hit your numbers? Then what? It's just there's too
Then they
much.
dump you.
Yeah, they dump you and you owe them money. Now
No,
I'm
you
good
don't
on
owe
that.
them money.
Oh, you don't they don't do
No.
that?
No, you
Okay.
don't have to pay back the advance.
Oh, that I thought that's what you did. See,
No,
and
no.
this is how uneducated some of us are when it comes to big publishers or
Mhm.
any kind of publisher that does stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I always thought you had to. So that's cool. You don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
That's awesome. See, uneducated. You learned me something today.
Oh, there's so much I don't know.
You and me both. So,
Mayhem is playing.
what are you working on right now?
Oh, I'm working on my 10th Brides of Prophecy novel. This is like my Dark Tower. So, I mean, it goes in
Right.
between different worlds. The main characters are, a heavy metal band with supernatural abilities. It's fun stuff. But basic this one is the series main character's mother's story. They're
Okay.
immortal beings called Luminites, and it's called Redeeming the Angel because a person with wings, people think angel, but
Mhm.
they're really not, and they're immortal, but the way their immortality works is if their body dies, they just ascend back to their home realm and they've got a new body. My one character was really pissed because when that happened, all of her tattoos were gone.
Oh,
you
that's
know,
a lot of money.
'cause you can't take it with you and whatnot. And
Yeah.
they also they're biologically incapable of fear. I kind of borrowed that from Kender in the Dragonlance books because I love those.
Nice.
And they can create, but they cannot destroy. So, of
Hmm.
course, my character, who is half one, she killed the big bad in book 3 and then ended up in a coma for months because of that.
Oh, so it like literally legit did something to her where she broke.
Yes.
She
Yes.
broke.
Yeah, it
So-
broke her. And yeah, and at the same moment that she got her wings too.
Wow. That sucks. So,
I know.
where did you come up with that? With your storyline for that? Was it just something that you had in your head, a dream? It was
Yeah, some of it in my head, some of it a dream, and some of it it's weird how writing goes where you're just sitting there typing away and
yeah.
then all of a sudden you're just reading this stuff showing up on the screen and you're like, "Whoa, that's cool. What
I'm
happens
really in the
next?"
zone.
Yeah, yeah. Like I some of it I'm like, I have no idea where that came from.
Hmm. That is interesting. Because it really does happen, and the characters take on their own personalities and do their own thing.
Yeah,
It's
thank goodness for
crazy.
this because this mother character was inspired by my own mom.
Hmm.
But I've got to write about this character doing sexy times. So it's like I've
Yikes.
evolved enough in the series, met her enough where she's her own person and is not
Yes.
so closely tied with my mom.
Where you don't feel weird. You're like,
Yeah,
Mom,
but
do you do this for real?
she passed away in '09. So
Oh, I'm sorry
yeah,
about
it's
that.
it's really nice that I had the character finds out that her mom who died didn't actually die. She went back to
Oh,
life.
that is nice. And that kind of is a memoir, or
Yeah.
not a memoir, kind of like an honoring of your
Yeah.
mom.
I
So,
dedicate every book to her so that she gets all the happy endings that she didn't get in life.
yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So, do you plan to how many books do you plan to have in that series?
12. And then I have little spin-off standalone stories planned out too. I don't know if you ever watch Game of Thrones.
No, I'm one of those that
Okay.
have never watched Game of Thrones.
Well, the show-wise, it turns into a crushing disappointment once it went off
That's what I
books
heard.
because and then of course there aren't any more books because god damn it, George. I'm obsessed. But yeah, I had I already have one of the spin-off stories and that was like totally my homage to Dragonlance and this anti-hero mage character named Raslin and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm going to do a grumpy sunshine romance kind of with this dynamic." And same thing, there's a character in the series that is total like I can't wait to do an homage to that.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's going to be 12. There's spin-offs. Is that pretty much all you're really working on right now?
Sort of. I'm gonna finish this story, and then I think I'm either gonna start one of the spin-off stories for people, or I'm going to do another one of my Regency paranormals since the rights are all mine and people
Yeah,
are really enjoying it. So I'm
good.
basically gonna look at my earnings and then decide which
Let that determine where
let
you're
that
going.
determine where I'm going. But I also, if I'm gonna have, my big horror novel on the market, I need to write another horror novel. And this won't be the huge epic that this one is. It's gonna be pretty simple and be some historical horror.
Okay.
I
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, the idea like hit me, and so I like typed out like everything I knew about it, and I'm like, I can't wait to write this.
So were you a planner then?
It's in between.
Okay.
I don't fully go off the seat of my pants. Like I have an idea and I know about where I want it to go, or I'll know a few things that happen, but I
Mhm.
don't know like the whole scope of the story. So I will write down what I know happens and then figure out, off in seat of my pants how to get to that point.
Got it. Okay. So you're a hybrid.
Yes. Just like with my publishing hybrid.
Yeah. Yeah. That is awesome. Is there one author that really just drew you in and trips your trigger even to this day?
It sounds like basic bitch, but Stephen King.
You're so funny. A lot of people do, appreciate and like his books and stuff like
Even
that.
the
I have a
ones
hard time.
where yeah, like, he's really hit or miss with people, but it's something about his writing style that's, like,
Mhm.
so conversational, and I'm like, "Wow, even when the story sucks and I hate everybody in this, I'm still gotta turn in the pages, so that counts for something."
It does. I love Dean Koontz.
Mhm,
He was the one who got me into reading as much as I do and wanting to be an author. When I was
mhm,
14, I wanted to be an author because I read so many of his books over one summer. And then I went to Goodwill and found all of them and just like became a hoarder, which I am. I'm a book hoarder. I
me
have
too.
enough books that I could probably start a used bookstore. It's pretty bad.
Same.
I never met a book I didn't like. So, but not saying that there aren't books out there that are not written well.
Yeah.
Have you ever come across something that you could not finish?
Oh, I got to work at a used bookstore for a little bit, and that was
Oh, I'm
fun.
jealous.
Oh, yeah, it was nice. I didn't make anything for money, so
I
that was
bet you
a
didn't.
bummer. I know, and then sometimes and the owner ended up owing me lots of money, so she paid me off some of it in books,
Books.
which I can't really refuse even though I really did need the money.
How could
But
you?
I could not refuse,
Right.
but yeah, she had this other lady working there running the place, and I came to work on a couple days. And she got really into 50 Shades. And then she's like, come on, you gotta read it. And I went out for my smoke break and the writing style, I couldn't.
I'm There's a lot. When it first came out, I did read it. I read all three.
Mhm.
And excuse me, I loved it then. But then, like, after a while, they started making movies. I'm like, how are you going to make that into a movie? And then people are like, really, honestly, this is pretty much if a guy wrote this and had
Mhm.
written this and kind of changed a few things, kind
Mhm.
of reposition a few people. And if the guy didn't have any money, if Christian didn't have any money, or you
Yep.
know it'd be a creepy stalker novel. And I'm like, yeah, that person isn't wrong. If
No,
it
and
Yeah.
it's funny, back when those hit the popularity scene, I was doing karaoke with the local BDSM scene. I just needed to find people to go do karaoke with.
I love
So
karaoke. I
that's
wish we lived in the same
so
city.
we carpooled and did that with them, and, oh, they were so infuriated when that
I've heard that.
because they're like, "No, we're about, like, consent and respect," and he is
Hmm.
like, none of the things they were portraying in the book was healthy or how that stuff's supposed to work.
Right. And those are the people you want to listen to because they're the ones
Mhm.
that understand that dynamic.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I
Yeah.
know a couple of spots I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of questionable."
Yeah.
But, for the reality of it all, those are the people you want to talk to.
No, and they were so wonderful as karaoke buddies because,
Oh yeah.
if I'm just walking to go get another drink or whatnot, if somebody even tapped me on the shoulder or tried to flirt, they jumped up and they're like, "She did not give you permission to touch her." I'm just,
Nice.
oh man. That's
The
that's why it
good
was good to have a
bodyguards.
group,
I
yeah.
I have a friend who was part of that scene in Ohio where I'm
Mhm,
from. And, having these conversations with her, because I was like, I don't get it.
mhm,
And she's like, well, it's not about, what you think it is. It is about the consent and it is about making sure there's pleasure in everything. And I was just like,
mhm.
oh. So once she broke it down for me, I was like, oh, it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't anything that was taboo or anything like that. It's very normal
Mhm.
for the people that are in the group, and they're all a consenting adults, so leave them
Yeah,
alone. And
right,
why are you writing smut like that?
right?
Because I mean it's kind of questionable. It really is, and I don't know why that got made into a movie, because you can't
Mhm.
make something like that into a movie.
Yeah, and they were just worried sick that so many, like, impressionable young girls would
Yeah,
get themselves trapped with abusive
exactly.
people, 'cause there are abusers that are like, "Oh, it's because I'm a doll." You
Yeah,
know? It's like,
yeah.
"No, you're
I'm
an
an
abuse."
alpha male.
Yeah,
Bitch, you ain't shit.
uh-huh.
So,
Exactly.
so have you ever written erotica, or is it just romance?
Um, some of my characters definitely got quite a bit more wild in the sack than I was expecting them to.
Okay.
It's almost always the more quiet, nerdy ones, and
Yeah.
then when I'm like, "Damn!"
Yes. Yes. They are. They are the ones.
But, yeah, no, there's definitely sex scenes. I consider myself mostly a medium heat level, but
Got
every
it.
once in a while, it goes from vanilla to vanilla with sprinkles, and then
Yeah.
there were a couple times where I'm like, "Oh, man, you guys are actually being kinky here," but consent was always huge with them. All my dudes are nice dudes, so
Yeah. I wrote one short story that never ended up getting published. I'm considering on writing it and finishing it,
Mhm.
getting it, making it into a book instead of just a short story. Because I don't know. There's just I don't know. Do you ever feel like you need to take a shower after you're done writing this stuff? You're just like, ew, what did I just do?
Oh, yeah, yeah, and there was one with, I was part of RWA, the Romance Writers of America, and, the Rita, the big award, like the equivalent of the Stoker, it was all
Mhm.
peer reviewed. So you'd get a bunch of books in the mail that you were supposed to rank and judge.
Ah,
And
okay. Yeah.
there was this one that wasn't even really all that S&M, but it's like he kidnapped her when she or abducted her when she tried to get away from him. He drugged her, he raped her, and it
Yikes.
was like horrible. So I
Yeah.
needed a shower after reading that because it felt so just awful. And
Yeah.
like
That's
I
that's
don't know why
terrible.
anyone would be into that. It was like this could have doubled been a horror novel, man.
Was that
Bad.
something that he entered like the author entered themselves, or was that somebody recommended it to be?
It was something the author entered themselves,
Okay. All right.
and she's very popular, so she definitely has fans of that sort of thing. It just
Mhm.
was not for me and
Not
made
for
me
you.
very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that would be. That would be very uncomfortable. I think for most of America, that would be very uncomfortable. But, so where exactly can we, because we're running out of time, where can we find you?
Um, at brooklynannauthor.com, and, I'm on Facebook and sort of Twitter, even though I'm not on there much these days. I'm on Blue Sky, and those are all under Brooklyn Ann. And, Instagram's Brooklyn Ann Author because somebody else had claimed my name.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'll see what to do, whether I need to make separate accounts for the Brooklyn Ann Butler, but I'm thinking not because there's another author in Heather Graham, where she's in thriller and she's in romance.
Mhm.
And I forget which branded ones that she added was Heather Graham Possessor. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
Huh.
that's sort of what I'm doing. So it's like, it's still me, but it,
Right.
it's just not going to have much kissing in it.
Got it. So you said Amazon and you said
Oh, yeah, Amazon,
Brooklyn Ann Butler. is it Brooklyn Ann Butler or
No,
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Ann
Ann
Author?
author.
Sorry, author.com.
Yeah.
And then you're
Oh, it froze. Nope. Ah, you're back.
yeah, I froze, sorry. The internet's iffy out here in Arizona. It shouldn't be, but it is. Sorry. But you also were in the most recent and like released yesterday
Oh,
Hospital of
yes.
Haunts anthology.
Yes, yes, I did
So
that one
we
under
can
the Brooklyn Ann Butler name, and
yeah, so we
that
can
was my
find you in anthologies as well too.
yes, yes, House of Haunts and Hospital of Haunts.
Oh yeah, there was the one from the year before because they put them out every year. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want everybody to definitely check out Brooklyn Ann Butler. Check out everything she's got. Follow her, friend her. The best thing that you can do is read her stuff and review on Amazon. And then when you see this, like and subscribe to our channel because you'll also be helping us at thebookasylum.com or the Book Asylum on YouTube. And if you guys do like know somebody or have an idea for someone to come on the show, or if you know somebody and they want to fill out the form, go ahead and go to book-asylum.com, fill out the form, and we'll get y'all squared away to get you on the show. So Brooklyn, I want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
just being here. You're awesome. And I cannot wait to see the great things that you do. I can't wait to pick up some of your books. So I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have a good day.